Okay, before I get started, I wish to apologize for the camera making me look as red as a freaking lobster. Now I look normal, now I'm turning red. This camera is a pretty old camera. It's a Canon SX30IS. I got it in 2000, it's 2012. I think I got it about 2 years ago. I've been using almost all the time, and it was used. So I think it's finally reached end of life. So for me, I'm eventually have to get a new camera, but it's going to take me a while, so I hope you bear with me because I'm not going to use my camera on my phone. That's just not what I'm going to use. I just don't think that's a good enough of a thing to work. So I will still be using this camera. I will try to correct the color in post, but if I can't, I am sorry. Oh, that's a lot to say. Anyway, let's get to this debate of the week, and this is about Eric Bischoff and Paulie Heyman. Paulie himself. Let's put this in perspective. Really, let's make this very clear. With the shows both doing so badly, ratings are extremely low. Then you have Fox as well as Paramount. We're talking about USA, who I'm definitely sure are not happy with the product that's being produced. This isn't just, and this is a lot I've been hearing about Fox, $1 billion Fox. You're tending to forget that they also have a Paramount deal with USA. Paramount is the parent company, USA is the network. They have a deal through USA to Paramount. So both of these companies have been looking at this product and probably saying to Vince and his team, we're not satisfied with this, do something. We're not satisfied again, do something. And I'm sure that Fox, who is now dropping $1 billion on the door of a Vince and K. McMahon, has said, it's getting close. Please do something, or we're going to reconsider our deal. That's if they can't break the contract. If they've made an ironclad contract with the WWE, they may try to break it, but then they have to go through mitigation and go for the courts. That's if it isn't a lockdown, ironclad contract for the next who knows how many years for Fox. But if it is ironclad, they're telling them do something. So they decided to do this, but does it mean it's going to work? Let me say it like this. The only person so far, I didn't get a chance to see much because my internet is still malfunctioning. The cable guy came and couldn't even get access to the back, even though the landlord super let him in. He still can't get there. Now his supervisor has to try and deal with it because it seems to be something weird in the back of my building. So my internet keeps scrambling up. So it's been hard to see anybody. I did see a little bit of JD NYC. I did see a little bit of the Lexman. I'm hoping that I can get the internet back whenever it decides to turn itself back on to see the rest of what he talks about. But I got the gist of both of them. That JD is happy but a bit skeptical. And pretty much the Lexman is not skeptical. And he's pretty much showing happiness. But that is just part of the video that I've seen on both of them. Both of them could flip, that JD could be 100% happy at the end of his video, and the Lexman could be more skeptical. I still don't know because I've only seen parts of those videos. So that's as much as I've seen. For me, understanding what has happened, look at what I have on my shoulder, and this is what was written on the website before my internet went down again, after seeing what they said, that the CEO is still the responsible one who does the final decision. That means these executive directors must still report to Vince and Kenny McMahon, the CEO of WWE and the company itself. So this is what I'm thinking. If you had Paul Heyman run SmackDown and Raw by himself to be the executive director of the entire two shows, I think it would go well. If you have Eric Bischoff taking care of both shows, I think it would go pretty well. Having them both run equal shows and not knowing if the brand split still exists. And I know people say, why do we care about the brand split? It is what they presented for months now and years now. We've had the brand split since 2016. This wild card rule has come in only about a couple of months. And the thing is, it is extremely confusing to know if there's no more brand split. People could say there's no more, but if they're not letting all talent go between both shows, there is still a brand split. And this wild card rule is very convoluted and very badly booked. Now you're going to have two guys who used to be former rivals of Vince doing this, And knowing how Vincent Kennedy McMahon is, that he does not watch the product of NXT. For every NXT call-up, you can call EC3, Finn Balor, Ember Moon, Kylie Zane, you can talk about Bray Wyatt, you can talk about anyone in the last 5 to 6 years. They have been booked horribly at one time or another, or they're being booked horribly now. Seth Rollins is doing pretty well right now. Becky Lynch is doing pretty well right now, even though a lot of the popularity has been waning due to the fact of how badly they've been booked. Roman Reigns has been pretty much spotty as hell due to the fact of how badly he's been booked. Joe Anawahi is not the problem. I probably would like the guy. He's probably a great guy to hang around. But when it comes to his character, it's absolute garbage. His character has been garbage. And ever since he came back from remission to leukemia, he's gone back to being garbage again. So when I see these guys taking over this business of running the day-to-day operations of SmackDown and Raw, and knowing how Vince has not been willing to let not one writer, not 2 writers, not 10 writers, 38, near 40 writers write properly, does not give me a lot of confidence. I believe, and this is just me, this is what I think, one or two things I believe. The first one is, just like everyone believes, that Fox and Paramount, who is the owner of USA, gone to Vince again and said, stop, please change this, we don't like this, if you don't want to have problems with our contracts, do something. So he hired Eric and Paulie. Now they're going to be trying to do the day-to-day operations. Vince will take a step back and work on the XFL, which is coming out next year. And he may periodically maybe give some input or have a certain feud that he wants done. That would be the best case scenario. This is what I think is really happening. Vince has been hammered by Paramount as well as Fox. USA ratings have been dismal. This is what they're both going by. Paramount and Fox have been looking at the ratings. The ratings are extremely bad. The pay-per-views are bad. The ticket sales are bad. Everything is bad except for one part of the company, which is NXT, which people really like. So Vince said, well, there's only one way to make them happy. I'm going to change things up by making it look like I'm going to hand power over to Paul, and I'm going to hand power over to Vince. No, not Vince, but Bischoff. I'm going to give it to them. I'm going to let them be the figureheads while I still run the way I like. This is what I think is a good possibility that it is. That Vince called Paulie in and called Eric in. Probably told them the truth, or my belief is they don't know 100% that Vince will not change everything that they do. And I do believe he's told them that this is what you're going to be allowed to do. But when it comes down to 100% of running Raw and SmackDown, Eric on SmackDown will probably get maybe 30 or 40% control. Because I do not think Vince is going to let him have total control. Same thing for Paulie on Raw. I do not believe Vince is going to let him have total control. Vince is going to make it look like both of them are in charge when he's still the one who makes the final say. And he's not going to let them really change the 2 products over. Because when it really comes down to it, I'm being honest here. If Vince really wanted to do something totally different and not do something that is the same old thing. Because let's be honest, as much as Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff know the business, they've been through the business, they understand how the business works, they need new blood. And that's where Triple H comes in. You may not like Triple H, Paul Levesque. You may think he's full of himself. You may think he's a dick. But he has produced a product inside the WWE that is so beloved by the fans that many fans do not want the ones who've gone to the main roster to stay there. They want them to go back to NXT because they can't stand how badly booked they've been. They want them to go back to their original personas that was produced by Triple H and the talent themselves. So what do I believe about this situation? Wait and see. Do not believe this is true. I'm not saying it can't be true. I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping that Vince fully realized that he had to step back from this. Let Paul Heyman and Eric take over. Let him do some storylines that he can cherry pick. Don't totally get rid of him. He may be nuts, but he's still a smart nut. He still can come up with a storylines periodically. Just let him do one once in a while. A special storyline from one group, a special storyline for another group, a special storyline in Raw or SmackDown. At least one storyline that he does, but the rest of the operations need to be Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff. But honestly, I just don't see this happening. At least if it is, I don't believe this is going to happen immediately, because I do not believe Vince is going to 100% turn over power 100% all at once. I've heard some people, I think I heard one person say, it was the Lex Man, and it was another person, I did manage to see a little bit of his video before my internet went out, that he believed that Vince is just going to step back completely and he's not going to work there anymore. Vince is not going to do that. Vince is staying there until he dies, or until he ends up in a nursing home that once I used to work in, where a person was in a wheelchair or in a bed. That's the way Vince is going to be. He's going to work until he can't work anymore. It's just not going to happen. When was the last time you heard Vince on a vacation? Not saying he couldn't go on one, he doesn't. He's been working for 40 years straight. You need to have a vacation. But this is just me. I do believe there's a possibility this could work out. But as it stands, until we see at least a couple of months of different content, don't fall for it. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace. And I'm hoping that I can upload, or at least see, Impact Wrestling if this isn't uploaded. Because there's a good possibility this will be uploaded first before Impact, counting if my internet holds out. But if I don't have Impact up due to the fact I lose my internet, I'm really sorry. When I get the internet back, I will try to see if I can do an Impact Wrestling review. You guys tell me if you want me to do it. Not to do. To do it. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.